Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be explaining recursion in a way that I think makes it pretty easy to understand exactly what's happening in the code. So we have a recursive function written in Python here called factorial. It takes a parameter n and finds the factorial for that number. So in this case, we're going to call factorial on the number 4. So with that, I'm going to replace all of these n's with 4s just so we see exactly what's happening in the code. And now I'm going to highlight yellow the parts of the code that we actually go through. So first we check if 4 is equal to 0. It's not, but we successfully checked this and went through it. So we're going to highlight this. We're going to highlight this yellow. And now we're on to this else. So we're going to return 4 times something. So I'm highlighting this because we kind of start this line, but this whole line of code cannot be completed yet because we don't know what this value is. So this is more or less put on hold right now because we started it, but we can't finish it. So when we call factorial 4 minus 1, which is really just factorial 3, we're just calling the function again. So that means that we have a brand new function call. So, and I'm going to represent that with a new window. So factorial 3. So factorial 3, this function call is added to our stack. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to check if 3 is equal to 0. It's not. Then we're going to hit this else, and we're going to return 3 times something, but we don't know what this something is. It's a function call, so this entire line cannot be completed yet. So we're calling factorial of 3 minus 1 at this point. So I'm going to grab another new window, which is just adding a function to the stack. So we've got factorial of 2. And the same thing, we check if 2 is equal to 0. Spoiler alert, it's not. And then again, we're going to try to return 2 times something, but yet again, we don't know what that something is, so that return line, it cannot be completed yet. So we're going to call factorial on 2 minus 1, which is just 1. So again, we get another function call on top of our stack. Now notice how these are literally stacked on top of each other. The factorial 4 is at the very bottom, then there's 3, then 2, then 1. Okay. So same exact thing, quick check, 1 is not equal to 0. We're going to return 1 times something. We're going to return 1 times factorial 0. So now we have that new function call factorial 0 added on top of our stack. And here we're going to check, is 0 equal to 0? Yes, it actually is. So we're going to return 1. And now notice how this return is fully complete because we're just returning a number. We're not returning a number multiplied by some function where we don't know the value of that function. So since this return is just returning a number, this whole function call is fully complete, which means it's done. So it's no longer on the stack. So we know it returns 1 and we can just delete this. It's not on the stack anymore. And now, if you'll notice, it returned 1, remember. So that means this value is just 1. So now this whole line can be complete. And at that point, we're returning 1. So we can delete this off the stack, which is great. So now, we remember that that value was 1. So now we're returning 2 times 1. And again, this is a full number, so we're returning 2, and that's great. And then this function call is completed. So that pops off the stack. So that value that we just had was 2. And now this is answered. So we have our value complete here, so we're returning 6, which means we can pop this off the stack. Now we have this, which we know was 6. And so we can finally, we can finally return 4 times 6, which is 24, and that is our answer to factorial 4. And now finally this last, the first item on our stack is finally complete. And so you can see that with the stack we have the last in is the first out. So like the last item added to the stack is the first one removed. Meanwhile, the very first item on the stack was the very last to be removed. So hopefully this clarifies things. Let me know if in the comments below if this was helpful. It definitely helped me to visualize exactly what's happening, how the functions aren't really be completed, and why a stack is even forming in the first place. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.